What is good, all of our listeners and viewers? Welcome to another episode of Games and Groceries. My name is Adam.
And I'm Liz.
And we forgot to buy Windex while we were out today. Woo! We're on episode 92, where we're going to talk about our ideal Life is Strange 3, featuring Dan from the Greatest Story Ever Played podcast. But first, we've got a few segments for you, including... I wanted to tell you that we forgot Windex in Pledge today.
Oops.
Like, as we were setting up today, I was like, I'll make that my intro. Yeah.
Well, we have 2 more weeks before someone's coming over, so. We got time to forget again.
But while we were out, so you always see me drinking by, not sponsored, because too low of an audience. But I love you all. Seriously, like, I don't want anybody thinking, though, that, like, he's a biased shill. I am, but for other reasons than you think. But yeah, so as we were out, there was a buy Bubbles. Bubbles. And so I guess it's a seltzer. It's just another seltzer out there.
Seltzer?
I guess so.
That's not what it says.
Antioxidant beverage.
Maybe it's just that, but bubbly.
Bubbly. Liz, how you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah? Why are you good?
Because I got a new purse.
Yeah? What's it like?
It's gray, and it's just a little bigger than the one I had before, because I always have this, like, fight between having enough space in my bag, but having a smaller bag, because I hate carrying around the big ones, because it ends up being like me carrying around a trash bag, because that's what I end up doing.
True.
But this one is like the perfect size because I have to carry, like, if I had a choice, I would not carry a purse. It's very annoying. It gets in the way.
I totally understand.
Shut up.
Oh.
But I have to carry a purse because I have to carry my EpiPens with me everywhere I go, just in case. So, yeah. So there's that. But I love purses.
Yeah.
Before we met, it might have even been after we met, I used to have like a hoard of purses.
Yeah, you did.
Still dating?
Yeah.
Okay.
You did. I remember that.
I literally had a drawer in my dresser full of different purses. Small purses, big purses, pink, brown, black. Like, I had purses galore that I did not get rid of until I went to college, I think, was when I got rid of them. And I tried to lower it down to one bag. But ever since then, I've gone back and forth between small and big and small and big and small and big. So I like this one. It's the perfect size. I fit everything I had in my old purse in it, and it's not stretching it. There's still smushy room.
Right.
If I needed to, like, throw something in there, like if I bought like a small snack or something like that. Or if, like, you needed me to carry like something, because sometimes you have your glasses case for some reason, or
I never do anymore. Your
keys, your wallet. But like before, I'd be like barely fitting your keys on the top. Whereas now I have enough room, and I'm excited about my new purse. I do the same thing with wallets. I go through wallets like crazy because I like organization.
So we want to remind everybody that we're on social media. Well, I want to get the...
No, I know.
Yeah. But yeah, so we do have a special guest today, and we're going to get to him eventually. But we have 2 segments we want to give to you. Then we're going to bring on Dan. But first, we want to remind everybody that we're on social media at Gaming Groceries, or you can follow us on individually on Twitter. I'm at Ace the Grocer.
And I'm at Journey First.
So you can follow us individually, be friends with us there. And definitely check us out on Instagram. I forgot to post something today. I know what I want to post, but I'll do it later then, I guess. Okay.
Oops.
But, follow us on Instagram. I'm always posting there, as well as our website, or Facebook, too. Find us on Facebook. Website, gamesandgroceries.com, where you can listen to all the audio podcasts from the website, as well as so you can find out where you can listen to the audio versions, like, places like Play FM or even Radio Public. Definitely check us out on Radio Public. Definitely helps out the show if you listen to it from there. And if you're so inclined, definitely hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell if you're watching us on YouTube so that we know that, like, oh, there's an audience here. That's awesome. And definitely write us a review on Podchaser or on iTunes. It definitely helps out the show a lot because it puts us up in the algorithm. And last piece of call to action kind of deal. I just want to remind people to definitely email me, contact@gamesandgroceries.com. Or even tweet at me or anything.
You're allowed to talk to me.
Yeah. I got a nice little email from, I won't say his last name because he didn't give me permission. But this Nice guy, Michael. He emailed me, and it just reminded me, like, I haven't been telling people to email me, and he reminded me to do that. It, like, being serious here, it really means a lot when people reach out, because we do this show to reach people, and it's awesome when people email and have nice little comments, and we can have a nice little conversation. If you just want to email saying hello, that's what.
What's up?
Yeah. Honestly, that means more to me than any amount of subscribers that we can get. Like, to be frank with you.
Yeah.
But to be Adam with you, let's just jump into our first segment.
Movie Minutes.
Movie Minutes is a segment that we talk about the movies in the past week, and we like to recommend it, or we don't recommend it. And we watch these movies on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and sometimes Disney Plus, or in theaters. And we like to let you know if we recommend it or not. And this week's movie is a movie that we saw on Prime Video called A Dark Place. So that is A Dark Place. It does have another name, I found out. I forget what the other name is. Liz, opening thoughts.
Why don't you do the opening thought?
Okay. Why?
We watched it a few days ago, and I'm still trying to remember.
Wow. But yeah, so one thing. So I'll just jump into my notes here right from the bat. Bonus points because it was based in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Let's go, Pennsylvania boys. Let's go. Pennsylvania is our home state. And anything that's based in Pennsylvania, like that Netflix series that just happened, I'm Not Okay With This.
Yes.
That's based in Pennsylvania, so shout out.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie is based in Pennsylvania. It takes place in a fictional town in Pennsylvania. Bonus points for that. But the introduction of these characters feels very natural. The exposition is given... there's no better way to say it than just it was given well. I won't say that the exposition was perfect in that way. There were some awkward things because I put down on my notes. It was handled realistically, aside from Facebook, because this takes place in 2019.
It takes place in 2019, but it looked like the early 2000s setup of Facebook, like 2010 maybe. Like it looked like the first setup of Facebook that I had. So that wasn't realistic at all. I'm not even sure how they got that.
And the other part is like, oh, you didn't silence your phone.
Erps.
How dare you?
Oh, your mom texted me.
It's like, you didn't silence your phone. Like, that was just your mom texting me.
No, it wasn't. That wasn't the notification. I just see a text from your mom.
Anyways, so we're professional here. But as somebody who, was in youth ministry for a while, I know about teen culture. They had a middle schooler on Facebook in 2019.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Nope.
That doesn't happen. Like, and it was like a bunch of like that.
She would have had, and like all the kids in this town had a Facebook. I'm just like, they wouldn't be on Facebook. They think that's for old people now.
I would understand that if she was the only one with Facebook. I get that.
Yeah.
But it was like all the kids in the town had Facebook. I was like,
like,
no.
Oh, this is 2019, not 2010.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, so it was realistic. I like the exposition. I feel like I messed with my settings in my voice. So if you hear a change in the next segment, now you know why. But so the pacing, in accordance to this segment, the pacing is a bit slow in this movie.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I'm going to mess with my settings a little bit.
Of course. It was a little slow, but I enjoyed this movie. Like, there was never a point where I was, bored. Like, I was interested the whole time. So I don't think it was that slow.
I think it was slow. Hey, I like this one. That sounds better. No, the way I'm talking about it feels slow. It just like there was no tension. This is supposed to be a thriller movie.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel that tension.
I think it was more supposed to be suspense, not thriller.
Is there a difference?
Yes. Suspense, it keeps you wondering all the time. Whereas thriller, it's
I guess.
I feel like thriller is more like Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
And things like that. Whereas this is suspense. Suspense is more
yeah.
a mystery and you're like, you feel suspense when you're watching it. Like, so it's or you're supposed to.
Yeah.
I still didn't feel that, but I think this is a suspense, not a thriller.
And that suspension, that tension really wasn't there. It tried to. But however, I did feel more engaged. The main character's name is Donnie. And I felt more connected with Donnie because he was, his character is mentally disabled. And he's kind of coping with that as you're like solving this kind of mystery. And it's more of a human story than it is a suspense movie.
Yeah, like they're focusing more on his story than the thing he's trying to figure out.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that like I think that they were more focusing on his story rather than building a suspension of the character.
No, I agree.
But the ending wasn't really the cleanest in this movie.
Yeah.
I felt like disappointed with the ending.
I felt the ending was still good, but it could have left it all. Like, they didn't need that last scene.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that like I still enjoyed it with the journey with Donnie. Like I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah,
but you know it tried to be a suspense movie, but it didn't leave me in suspense. It left me more with wanting more of Donnie's story.
Yeah,
and I don't know how I feel about that, but. You know, since we're running out of time here, let's just go into our final rankings, like our final ratings. What did you give it?
I gave it a 7. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I would recommend it if it was the type of movie that you're interested in. It's definitely something to watch. Like I said, even though it was different, I wasn't bored. I didn't feel the need to check my phone in the middle of the movie at all.
Yeah.
The only reason I gave it a 7 is partially because it wasn't that suspenseful. And it wasn't realistic.
Yeah.
In as far as times, like I told Adam multiple times when we were watching it that it looks like it was filmed in like 2010, 2011 and released in 2019. Like that's how it looked. So
I also gave it a 7, and a 7 in our books is a decent movie. It's decent, and that's good. But there is a lot left to be told, and I think this was an indie film too.
Yeah, I believe so.
I gave it a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy Donnie's story in this. I think his character was really well written. I was engaged with his story more than the story of the suspense and the thriller and the mystery. But, you know, again, it's called A Dark Place. It's on Prime Video. If you want to check it out for yourself, you know, don't take our words for it. But I gave it a 7. She gave it a 7. We think it's a decent movie. I think I would recommend it. It's about an hour and a half. So doesn't really take away your time too much. But, you know, I think it was good.
Yeah.
So, but again, Dark Place. It's on Prime Video. So with that said and done, let's talk about video games now with our next segment.
Top 3 Gaming News.
The top 3 gaming news is the gaming news that we saw in the past week, and we like to rank it 3, 2, 1 just to give you a condensed version of what's going on in the gaming industry. That's what we're here for. By the way, if you hear me messing with my settings, it's because I started to listen to our podcast with different headphones, and I started to notice that, like, okay, my settings are a little too high on the gain, and so I'm like constantly messing with it because I hear what I hear from my headphones and the editing headphones, but then I put on my Bluetooth headphones.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh.
Like your everyday earbuds.
My everyday earbuds. And I was like, oh, man. It's because I want to perfect this show to be professional. We're also going to hang foam on the corners because I could hear the echo.
Eventually.
Yeah. We just have to find time to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's just jump right into it. Just to let you know, we're constantly improving.
We're working on it.
We're working on it. Just like our own lives. But let's go into the number 3 gaming news, and that's Google Stadia.
I don't miss talking about this.
Google Stadia, everybody. And we're not talking about how they are not paying developers enough to be on their platform. Basically, they're going to developers and saying that, we're Google. You want to be on our platform?
Google.
That's basically what they're doing. They're paying them, but not nearly enough for them to be on.
That's not what we're talking about.
No, because speaking of getting developers on, they managed to poach the head of Sony Santa Monica. And if that name sounds familiar, Sony Santa Monica was the one who produced the latest God of War game God of War PS4, I guess you call it. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. What was her name? Shannon Studstill. I was going to say Studill, but it's Studstill. But yeah, Shannon Studstill from Sony Santa Monica for their new studio in Playa Vista, which is the same neighborhood as where she worked. So she's in the same neighborhood as Sony Santa Monica, which is crazy. There's a lot of questions about the longevity of Stadia. It seems like it's drip feeding in games, and these developers saying like it's not enough to be on that platform. Mm-hmm. And then Google released this statement. The new Playa Vista studio, I might be saying that name wrong, I'm sorry, will focus on delivering exclusive games like your other studios. Good job. Using new gameplay mechanics, creative ways to play together, and unique interaction models that we're just starting to explore, Jade Raymond said in a statement. While we're not ready to share specific game plans yet, rest assured we are listening to what gamers want and adding our own little Stadia twist to create new IP and experiences. Good job. You're a game development studio. That's what you do.
Yeah.
But I understand why she's saying that. Like, she has to put in like that kind of quote. But yeah, this is a big veteran coming into Google Stadia. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
I think it's really just showing that Stadia is trying to, like, you can tell that at this point that Stadia is like, all right, we're going to start making our own stuff.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get people to do that.
I think so. Yeah, it just comes into play that they're bringing in all these veterans.
Yeah.
And it's just like a question of like, that's great, but are you going to utilize them in the correct way?
So it's another wait and see type of thing.
Yeah. I think it's going to go well-ish, I think. But to get Shannon Studstill, that's crazy. That's insane. But we'll see. Time will tell on that. But let's just jump right into our number 2 gaming news. And E3, everybody. The retail and production partner, I Am 8-Bit, dropped out.
Yep.
The I Am 8-Bit dropped out as the retail production partner for E3 just 3 months before the show starting.
Which is crazy.
So Sony dropped out. Jeff Keighley dropped out. Now their production,
I'm not even sure how they're going to afford it now.
It's absolutely insane. Now I Am 8-Bit put out this quote on Twitter. It's with mixed emotions. I love that. It's with mixed emotions that I didn't notice that before. They tagged themselves in their own tweet.
Whatever.
That I Am 8-Bit has decided to resign as creative directors of what has to be an evolutionary E3 2020 floor experience. I like that they're saying it's supposed to be evolutionary. So that's crazy. We produced hundreds of gaming plus community events. It was our dream to be involved with E3. We wish the organizers the best of luck. So it's supposed to be revolutionary. It's supposed to be evolutionary. They had same thing with Jeff Keighley. He saw the direction that E3 was going this year and was like,
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not sure how they're going to pull E3 off this year. I have a feeling it's not going to be that great.
And that's the thing. Like, on a little side note here, E3 is still going on, even though Los Angeles is now in a state of emergency due to the coronavirus, and the ESA is still being like,
yeah, like they should at least consider postponing it, if not just canceling it for this year.
Yeah.
Maybe I feel like maybe cancel it this year, recollect, figure your stuff out, come back next year.
Yeah, even South by Southwest is canceled.
Yeah.
GDC was canceled. Like, it's just kind of like, dude, come on. I don't know.
Here's your noodle.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of wacky. It's a very odd situation. I really hope that E3 goes well this year because I love E3. I really do. And even on a business side, I've been seeing a lot of people tweet, including our former guests, Douglas Bogart. anyways, of limited run games, he was like saying that, like, listen, even if you hate E3 as a business standpoint, there's a lot of meetings that happen at E3.
Yeah.
There's a lot of business transactions. There's a lot of networking that happens at E3. There's a lot of name dropping at E3 that helps companies. Especially our friends over at Adams Ascending.
Yeah.
Guess how I found out about that game? You guessed it, E3. But so it is unfortunate. However, the ESA is just handling it so poorly.
Yeah.
But that kind of brings us into our number one gaming news. And we want to really get into this one because I'm very excited about this, is that there's going to be a Last of Us television show on HBO.
Yeah.
You're looking at the price of HBO now, aren't you?
Yeah, I forgot to look it up earlier.
So let me talk about this a little bit while you look that up.
Okay.
But through Twitter, HBO announced that there was going to be the show based on the video game, of course, The Last of Us. And it's going to be co-written and co-created by Neil Druckmann.
It is $15 a month.
Are you serious?
HBO now. Yeah.
Well, so is Netflix, if you go up to the 4K. That's weird. But yeah, we also have Hulu Live TV, so maybe there's a package deal. Because I was also talking about this. A little side note. I was also talking about this, that I want to watch this Last of Us show, but I also want the Halo Showtime show.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a package on Hulu where you can get HBO and Showtime.
Yeah.
I guess you're looking into that now.
Yep.
But yeah, Neil Druckmann, who is the creator behind, he's the head of Naughty Dog Studios, I believe. And he's going to be co-creating it with Craig Mazin. If I said his name right, I'm sorry about that. But he was the creator and writer behind Chernobyl, which is the HBO hit series. And they're creating it together. And Druckmann actually was interviewed.
It's $6 to add Hulu, HBO to Hulu.
Well, there you go. Bang. But yeah, so I want to read this quote from Neil Druckmann talking about Craig Mazin. I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong. I'm sorry. But Neil Druckmann says this to The Hollywood Reporter. From the first time I sat down to talk to Craig, I was equally blown away by his approach to narrative and his love and deep understanding of Last of Us. So that's really cool. With Chernobyl, Craig and HBO created a tense, harrowing, emotional masterpiece. I couldn't think of better partners to bring the story of Last of Us to life as a television show. So that's really awesome. And he's right. Like, Craig Mazin has experience.
Yeah.
Neil Druckmann knows Last of Us. They're both in that creative mindset. And it's on HBO, so you know it's going to be quality.
Yeah.
I think this is the best scenario to happen to this.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm excited. I was a little disappointed when I heard it was on HBO because that means we have to buy HBO.
Well, that's like when we reported on Halo being on Showtime. And I was like, come on.
Yeah. But now, especially now that we have Hulu, we can just add those channels on rather than getting the HBO app, getting the Stars app, or
Showtime,
whatever. All of them. But it's a benefit because we do like there are a lot of HBO shows that I'm just like, oh, that looks so good. And I'm like, oh, it's on HBO. I can't watch it.
Yeah.
So like, I know that'll like definitely help us when we're like, what do we watch?
Yeah, no, that's just it. Now, the last thing I want to say about this little piece of news piece is that Chris Parnell, who is the co-president, okay, it is co-president. I wrote down my notes because I thought it was weird. Now vice president, co-president, PlayStation Television Studios. He revealed that this is going to be the first of many shows based on PlayStation games. Yeah,
and it was that I was like, all right, then we might as well just get the HBO app. Never mind. Like, we might as well just add HBO if it's good. If this is not going to be the last one. So.
And so, yeah, when I heard that quote, immediately when I heard this is the first name, like Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah. Got it. Like that's pretty much confirmed that there's a Horizon Zero Dawn television series. Because as you play Horizon Zero Dawn, you play the story and there's a lot of television-esque storytelling. There's definitely places where it could have just blacked out, rolled credits, and then move on to the next episode. Last of Us equally, but Horizon
Yeah.
Zero Dawn especially
Yeah.
is definitely set for television. So I don't know about God of War. It might be, but that pretty much confirms that there's a Horizon Zero Dawn on the horizon. Bang. Yeah, any other thoughts about that?
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm super
I'm
excited.
excited for a reason to have HBO.
And I think it's the number one. If it was on Netflix, I would be like,
It's probably not gonna be good.
But the fact that it's on HBO, Neil Druckmann is
yeah.
co-creating it
Yeah.
with a proven veteran to HBO series.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be one of the
that's gonna
greatest
be
shows.
Really good.
So super excited. But speaking of super excited, I know what you're all here for. I can read your minds through your earbuds because, yeah, that's how mind control works.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't think so.
But we have a special guest for you. If you heard the podcast, the greatest story ever played podcast, we have Dan from there. We're going to be talking all about Life is Strange 3. It's not out yet, but we're just going to be chatting up about Life is Strange 3 and what our ideal Life is Strange 3 would look like if they announced it. So let's just bring them on with our final segment.
Coffee time.
All right, we're back with our guest, Dan, our repeated guest.
Yeah.
It's our first repeat I think. Yeah?
You think so?
I think so. But yeah, Dan, introduce yourself again, I think.
I'm back. I'm a recurring character now. Yeah, so I do a podcast called The Greatest Story Ever Played. We cover narrative-driven games for the most part, and sometimes a little looser than that. Recently, we did something like we did To the Moon. We're going to do BioShock Infinite soon. So
Nice.
Yeah, we hit up games like that. Also, Adam came on as a guest one time, and we talked about the new God of War game. So
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. That was a good one.
yeah, thanks for having me back on, too. This is awesome.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we want to definitely get you back on, especially on something like this where we talk about Life is Strange, because I think me and you have a lot of similar thoughts, but also very contrasting thoughts, too, about Life is Strange, the series. So I definitely wanted your contrasting because we're going to fight in this episode. I believe. No fighting.
No.
But I definitely wanted your perspective as well.
Awesome. No, yeah, I'm glad to be on and talk about the game series that we both love.
Yeah, for sure. And if anybody's watching or listening to us, you can definitely go in the description down below. I'll have his podcast linked in his preference. What platform would you like us to listen to? iTunes or any specific one?
Yeah, iTunes is fine. Whatever.
All right, I'll have his iTunes link down below in the description if you want to check out his beautiful podcast, if I might say. By the way, when you said To the Moon, when he did that, I was like, I didn't think that game was coming out, but I was thinking of Moons of Madness, which is coming out the 24th, and that looks phenomenal. But so does To the Moon. I looked it up, and I was like, wait, that's not the game I was thinking of. So yeah, let's get this conversation started. We're definitely talking about our ideal Life is Strange 3. And I think to start off this conversation, let's talk about each of us, kind of briefly, what we liked and what we didn't like in past Life is Strange episodes. So Dan, let's start with you. What did and what didn't you like about Life is Strange so far?
Well, I'll start with one thing I liked, which is whoever's in charge of like the music department in the Life is Strange universe, keep doing what you're doing. Jonathan Morelli as like the instrumentals. They're perfect in the first game and in Life is Strange 2. And then whoever chooses the licensed music, it's great in all three games. They're perfect. So I think that's the first thing. Whoever does that needs to be in charge still.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I think the other like big thing I would really like to see kept is like the power origin story. So I guess also anyone who's listening to this, spoilers obviously for all the games, but
I forgot to say that. Wait.
No.
Spoiler alert! Continue.
There we go. Now we're covered. So Right. Max finds out she can time travel by seeing Chloe get shot, and then Daniel finds out that he has telekinetic powers when he sees his dad get shot by that cop. And so I think that the idea of like trauma plus maybe youth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if you have to be young, but trauma somehow causes the power to emerge, and I think that should be maintained. I think that's a good start.
Mm-hmm. I think I definitely agree with that. Talk us through a little bit, like what haven't you liked about Life is Strange series? I know you like the series a lot. Is there anything that you really just kind of bugs you about the series?
I guess these would be maybe more like preference thoughts, but I think that Life is Strange 2 showed us that one location is better than being on the move. Like
I agree.
Before the Storm in the main game being in Arcadia Bay, I think that was better than being on the road. But then for Life is Strange 2, the best episode, in my opinion, was the one at the pot farm where you were basically at one location the whole time.
Yeah.
That's the one where I started to think like, okay, now we're picking up. Now this is good because we got introduced to all these characters. I agree with that. Yeah. Good take.
Yeah. So it seems like one location is best. That would probably be better. And then I think playing with the character with the power is also better. Being Max, I think, was more fun than being Sean or Chloe in Before the Storm. I think having the actual control of the power is probably better.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Liz, what are your thoughts? What did you like? What haven't you liked about Life is Strange?
I definitely agree that playing the person with the power is better. I understand why we didn't play Daniel, but at the same time, that could have brought a whole different element to the game.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't a fan of the pace of season 2. I mean, if you watch us play season 2, you can hear everything I don't like about it.
Yeah.
But it was the pace. It wasn't as open as season 1. Like season 1, it wasn't a completely open world, but you did have some.
It was open hub.
Yeah. So I liked that better than season 2, where we really didn't get to move around as much. We had a set thing.
It was very linear.
Yeah, we had a set thing we had to do, and that was it. So I definitely liked. I already like season 1 more than season 2, but it was just those little things in season 2 that made it feel like not the same as season 1.
Yeah.
And so if they do a third one where it's more similar to season 1, I feel like I would be more happy with that. I really can't think of anything I didn't like in season 1. Don't do the little tiny games. The
mini games.
Yeah, they annoy me. I completely agree with the music. Music is phenomenal. Keep doing whatever that is.
Give him a raise.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
Right.
But I won't go on to my next thought because that's later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess briefly my thoughts is we're actually putting out a video pretty soon. Actually, this coming Saturday, as you're listening to this, why I loved Life is Strange so much. So I won't really dive deep into what I liked, but I definitely like the music. The music is like the heavy hitter for me.
Yeah.
I like the character development of the game.
Yeah.
Especially in Life is Strange 2.
Yeah.
You get to see like how tired they are, like going forward.
Yeah.
I definitely like the character development in that way. What I didn't like is something specific, like you said, the pacing. What I didn't like about Life is Strange 2 is kind of similar to what you had, Dan, is that like this one place, this one condensed place, it's very, it helps the continuity. I didn't like how much reading you had to do in Life is Strange 2 to like catch up on everything.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But that's briefly what I don't like. I kind of shared it a lot if you're a longtime listener to the show. But let's just like flow into it. Dan, you have some notes of what would your ideal Life is Strange 3 look like? Let's say the people from Don't Nod, they say, hey, we want to get your opinion. What would be your ideal Life is Strange 3? So let's just jump into it. Dan, what do you have for us?
ideal. Okay. Well, I was thinking, I guess I don't know if you guys have thoughts this way or not, but I guess first, like thinking about, okay, so there's got to be a new power. We can't repeat.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So what would your new power be? For me, I would think maybe like a subtle mind control thing, like Obi-Wan, like these aren't the droids you're looking for. I think that could work as a power where it's like it can kind of get you out of situations you're in, but it's not I don't know, too big. I guess that part of the superpower thought for me is that like if it's too extreme, I think the games can verge on like being too actiony, and I don't think that's really where they thrive.
Yeah.
Like Daniel was so powerful, which was fine. You didn't really see it till the game was ending, basically, which is fine. But like, I think if you played as a character that way, who could just blow a building up day one, I don't know that would really be the game that I don't know we play.
So jumping on that thought, I think each power needs to be, and I like what you said before. You liked how it's a youth kind of thing, and you really get familiar with it because we all felt this kind of way. Where I think that each kind of power represents like what a teenager would want. And I again, I talked about it in the video that's coming out Saturday. Did I promote it enough?
Hush.
Okay. But I said that in high school with Max's power, every teenager wants to rewind time sometimes. You say something stupid and you're just like, I need to rewind time. With of course the back talking with Chloe, I guess that's her power. But then with Daniel, with Daniel's power, it's this little boy trying to be a man and show how strong he is. Yeah. And he's trying to take control of something. Yeah. And so when you're a kid, you just want to show your power. And I think that's where that representation comes in. The other thing we haven't touched on in terms of what a teenager would want to do, as well as it fits into the gameplay, invisibility. Like almost like a timed invisibility like we did in Halo 2.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's like the perfect one, but like I'm trying to think of ways that like the power can represent a struggle in a teenager's life, and I think a lot of teenagers just want to be invisible, just kind of gone.
See, mine what I thought of when Dan said like what power would be in season 3, I thought mind reading. I just think of this really awkward teenage girl who like is reading the minds of like her enemy or her crush or her mom and dad
while
like
being invisible. I see where you're going with this.
No, they only get one power.
I think though in my ideal mine wins. I don't but no,
I think that would be another one that would be able to tie in as mind reading, because like imagine being like around your crush and wondering, not wanting to ask.
Yeah, I find it difficult to ask you what you're thinking.
Anyway, you're not a teenage girl.
Well,
it could also, it could work with a teenage boy too.
Yeah,
like
totally
it could work either way, but I definitely think it would have to be a teenager.
Yeah,
not like Daniel's age.
Yeah, Dan, as a guy,
oh my goodness,
what do you think about that power? Would you want that as a kid?
I think that's a good power. Yeah, definitely. I think mind reading is good, just because like you could have an insecure character. That's pretty helpful.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. That's like, because you think of a lot of the time teenager, like young teenager, like 14 to 16, like really insecure, not especially in today's day and age where they can see everything on the internet. They just wonder what everyone thinks about them. Like it can show the positives and the negatives of knowing what everyone is thinking about you. Yeah. Or thinking in general at all times. I think that would be an interesting gameplay. I would definitely play that.
And see, I think that really fits in well. Both Dan, your answer with mind control and mind reading, because
his could be like the extra level.
Yeah,
because like the more powerful version of mind reading, so they can go together.
And that's what's beautiful, because if you look in each Life is Strange, and their powers, spoilers ahead, at the end of these, you start to find out that the powers you wish you had are ultimately the ones that will destroy lives. And I think mind reading and mind control can beautifully fit into that. Yeah. I'm not sure how invisibility would come to the demise of people, but I think mind reading, mind control can fit better in that narrative.
Yeah.
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 So, Dan, did you have something to say?
No, that's good.
I didn't. By the way, I didn't want to sound threatening. Like, Dan, did you have something to say, man?
Would you have something that you would like to share with the class?
You trying to say something?
Now, we brought up location, and I kind of want to read, sprinkle in some social media answers here, because if you follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, sure. We will ask you, what your thoughts are on the certain topic. Jumping into location, and I think this is a really good one. Let me read Commander Nikki's thought here. I'm going to read her entire tweet here. Maybe somewhere else other than the United States. France, maybe? That would be cool for the devs, to be honest. She wants 2 playable characters if possible, if necessary for couch co-op. Social issues might be disabilities and accessibility in the world, like stairs or tiny steps to go into a wheelchair. But yeah, pinpointing that first one, something else besides the United States.
I think that would be interesting.
I think so, yeah.
But they already set the first 2 in Washington State, or not Washington State, in Oregon.
Yeah.
So I feel like...
No, in Washington, because you start in Seattle and Life is
That's
Strange.
true.
Am I right?
But yes, but they're staying to that area.
The Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, so
Right.
I think it would be a little strange if suddenly they jump to France or even the East Coast.
Well, here's the thing, Liz. Life is strange.
You're an idiot.
Dan,
me crazy.
save me here. What do you think, about going outside of the U.S., or do you agree with Liz of staying in the Pacific Northwest?
I think U.S. probably makes sense to me, but I don't know. I guess in fairness, we're all Americans.
Yeah, I was going to say, it could be because we're all Americans and we think it should stay in America because that's what we know.
Yeah, of course, Commander Nikki is in Germany, so her perspective, and that's why I liked about, asking people on social media, because different perspectives. And I think if there's other places, I still remember, when Assassin's Creed, I remember, Assassin's Creed, it was always in other places in the world, right? Like Italy, Israel, all these places. But then, it went in Israel, I think. Yeah, Israel. But then when it came to the US in Assassin's Creed 3, that was like a big deal because, that's our, that's our hometown. Turned out it was one of the worst ones, but that's, up for argument. But I think it all comes with cultural perspective as well. And I think she's right that, Don't Nod is a French organization.
Yeah.
So I guess it would be fun for them. But yeah, Dan, if it had to be anywhere else other than the US, where would you want Life is Strange?
If it's outside the US, I guess that part of me thinks that if there's a third game anyway, then we're going to probably link up with the other 2. They're going to, I don't know. It feels like now that they're connected, you almost have to go full MCU kind of thing. Life is Strange 4 or 5 or something is going to be the one that brings the gang together. Yeah. And not that if you live in another country, you can't come to the United States, you can, but I don't know. I guess that you probably all need to speak English though. Yeah. And if your story permits that, then it's fine. It doesn't matter. But I don't know. I guess probably somewhere in Europe would be cool. I mean, I'd like to see game design of Europe, different places in Europe. That'd be fun.
True. Yeah. What do you think about Canada? I'm talking about Western Canada, Vancouver or something like that. That's close to the Pacific Northwest.
That would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Their power is niceness.
If it had to be in another country, I would choose Ireland.
Oh,
that could be because I'm very Irish.
Yeah,
that could be part of it.
Yeah,
I feel like
always drinking a Guinness.
They're always drinking.
But I feel like that would present another cultural element, but at the same time, you can have beautiful views.
Mm-hmm.
You still have that very pretty. Calming atmosphere that Oregon
True.
has
man.
given you.
Yeah.
So
I like that. That's a great idea.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're also exposing Liz that France is not good enough to.
No, France is fine. I just don't know anything about like the nature side of France. I just know that like Ireland is gorgeous.
Oh,
Yeah.
quick shout out to France. What's up, France? They're actually the second most, of course, U.S. is our top listeners, but then France comes in second.
I actually have always wanted to visit France.
Yeah.
So.
What's up, France? How you doing? Bonjour. Baguette.
Oh my gosh.
So we've
The two words Adam knows.
Yeah.
Isn't baguette Italian?
Oui.
There you go.
Yeah, so like I think you're both right in that like I definitely like what your thought is, Dan, that it definitely needs to be connected via almost like MCU in that way where it all ties itself together, and maybe the Pacific Northwest is where it's supposed to be at. And if anything, maybe even Vancouver, where everybody's nice and all that.
Yeah.
Everyone's nice.
Yeah. Well, that's what Dan said. Their power is niceness.
Oh jeez.
But yeah, like Dan, like any other notes that you have, like what else do you think?
About location?
Oh no,
Or
just like anything Life is Strange.
Anything?
Yeah, Life is Strange 3.
Actually, this was a good thing that I liked from before that I think that the game should continue on that I forgot to mention, which is the multiple endings thing. So with the first game, you had the two endings. That was pretty good in itself. But then Life is Strange 2 having 4 endings with some variations on the endings.
I think you're right. About 4.
Yeah, that's great. Like I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
And I don't know. For me, I didn't get an ending I wanted in Life is Strange 2. I was a bad brother on accident. I didn't mean to be, so that made it worse.
Yeah.
So I got a bad ending. But I think that would be. I think that's something that I'd like to see them keep running with. Like they clearly I think figured out how to make that work. Like it didn't feel like they just threw endings in that shouldn't have been earned. Like I think you did earn them along the way.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah. No, I like that. And like, can you imagine if Square Enix like finds out how to do Detroit Become Humans, multiple endings?
Goodness. That would be crazy.
That would be bananas. Like I almost feel like Detroit Become Humans is
Banana
too many endings. Like
yeah, I kind of like the simplicity of having 2 or 3 endings, especially with Life is Strange when it's got that such calming atmosphere. I don't need Detroit was stressful.
Yeah,
and I think and maybe it wouldn't be the same with Life is Strange, but I just feel like having that many possible endings with a game that's so calm. I don't know. That's just my opinion. My preference, one thing that I've been thinking about with Life is Strange is that I would love to see like a completely open world.
So you went from you like the hub world to
No, I didn't say I liked that.
Oh, you went like a completely like
it would be really cool. Like I don't have to go. Like if it was Life is Strange, I wouldn't have to go to the dorm.
So,
I could go anywhere I wanted.
Like how big would you want the open world to be?
Like just the little town that they're in.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Like if it's still based in a small town.
Oh, okay. So you don't want it Skyrim level.
No, I just want my own. I would just want to make all my own choices.
Yeah. Okay. I understand where you're going with that. Because like when you said open world, I'm thinking
I don't mean
Skyrim.
like all of America. I mean like
you just go to Florida one day.
I just mean like just in their small town, I can choose where I go, what I do.
Yeah. I
just feel like that would be a cool element.
Yeah.
No, that would be cool. Did either of you play Vampire from Don't?
I did play a little bit of is it vampire or vampire? I hear it both ways.
It's probably vampire, and I just say vampire.
Yeah.
Is that the one I started and never finished?
You did.
But either way, with Don't Nod for that one, I think they've got I don't know, maybe like 4 boroughs of London or something like that, and so it did give you some of that open world feel that could be looking for. So it's at least now in their wheelhouse of possibility.
I definitely agree with that. Yeah, like if it was more, and it's in the same wheelhouse because, like you said, Don't Nod with Focus Interactive. Did Don't Nod also make? I think it was just Focus Interactive that did Call of Cthulhu I don't think Don't Nod even touched that. It was just Focus. But yeah, it's already in their wheelhouse to do Vampire. So your dreams could come true someday.
Yeah. Like, I just imagine, like, I was just thinking of, like, how that would work. And I just imagine, like, because I can only use, like, the first one as an example. But, like, you don't have to go into Jefferson's class. You can choose a skip. And that changes the whole timeline. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
No, I like that.
Just an idea. I don't know if it would be a good thing or a bad thing, but it would be interesting to see how it worked in Life is Strange.
Now, would that affect the episodes? Like, that's another question. I didn't even write this down. Maybe not completely open. Maybe just like a little more freedom. Well, like, discussing that, like, would we want this to be episodic in the way that it was, like where it releases episodes, or would we want a full game with just certain levels attached to it?
I mean, my only thing with the episodes is that I hate how, like, they're spaced out.
I think Life is Strange 2 spaced them out way more than they should have.
That was too much, because I literally would forget where we were.
Yeah.
And what happened.
Like, Dan, did you feel... Am I wrong to think that, like, these episodes were spaced out way too much, like, versus Before the Storm?
Yeah, I think they were spaced out a lot. I'm definitely team episodes, though. I like them. Like, I think it works out really well. I like my ending stats and getting to see that.
Yeah.
As like a podcast person, I like talking about it each, speculate for 2 months or whatever. But yeah, I think I'm still kind of convinced that something must have went wrong at Don't Nod at the beginning of this game, just because of like the crazy delays in the beginning and episode 2 not being that good. Like, I think they put an episode out that they like were like, shoot, we got to put this out, like, because it's been so long, kind of deal. So I don't know. I think that if they could do an episodic game, but just tell us like, hey, it's always 10 weeks or whatever it is, I think we could all accept that day one and be fine with it. But if it's like in the vague of like, there will be an episode 2, that's super not helpful.
Yeah. And I think you're right. Like, there need to be like at least a roadmap as soon as it comes out, because like you said, when Life is Strange 2 came out, we're just like, when's the next episode? And it was just months.
Yeah.
And you just lost it. But I'm definitely with you, Dan. Like, team episodes, like, I love that episodic feel. I love how you can kind of space out your gameplay. As a person who works full time, and I can no longer binge games anymore, like, I love that, here's your 2 hours to 3 hours of gameplay. And that's all you have to do. And then wait a couple months, and then here's your 2 hours, 3 hours, and you don't feel like overwhelmed that you have to beat this in a weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that. We already talked about the powers a little bit, but I just want to read from what is hers? Oh, at the Nuzzling Doe. At the Nuzzling Doe says, I really like the time travel mechanic, and I don't think it was used to its full potential in the first game. I like more sophisticated time puzzles, more like exploring Kate's room, and then the payoff to be less like picking up a bottle before it falls. So she wants more puzzles in the game.
Like having to go back in time to have the right conversation.
Yeah, and when I think about like puzzles in terms of powers, like were there any like big puzzles in Life is Strange 2? More than just like mini games? I don't think there
were any puzzles.
Yeah,
no.
I can't think of any either.
Would you want that? Like, let's talk about that. Like, would you want puzzles, like sophisticated puzzles in a Life is Strange game?
No.
Or no?
I don't.
Your team, no.
I don't like having to think that hard to play a Life is Strange game.
Okay.
Like when we had to try and get Frank's keys.
Yeah.
I hate doing that because it was so much like, who am I supposed to talk to now? What is going on? Like, I like to enjoy it. Like, that's why I got hooked on Life is Strange, because it was so easy. I didn't have to have video game skills to do anything. Like, I was perfectly fine just walking around and talking to people, and those being the puzzles. Like, you have to talk to the right person to get this out of someone, but having to do the whole time thing and figuring out how many times do I need to talk to Nathan in a row to get the information I need to get Frank's keys. Like, it was, to me, that was a little too much. If I only had to talk to Nathan like 3 times, that's fine.
Dan, are you a puzzle game man?
I'm not. I'm with Liz. I don't really like puzzles. I'm not that good at them either. So
straightforward puzzles are fine. Like when you're playing what was that puzzle game that you hated that I always got the answers for you?
I don't want to say The Witness.
Yeah.
I hated because I love puzzle games so much, and The Witness frustrates me.
But puzzles like that I'm fine with. But like puzzles where it's like I have to like do something like that over like the talking and figuring it out.
Yeah.
Don't make me do that.
No, I agree.
That's way too much thinking for a chill game.
And I feel like Dan and Liz, you both are definitely not in the casual market, but you enjoy a good story over a game that,
it's combat driven.
Not even combat driven, but I don't even want to say challenges your mind because that sounds a little like negative. Like nothing
that makes us sound so lazy.
Nothing that challenges the mind.
I feel like high skill kind of thing. Like I'm not really interested in things with high skill.
Yeah. You just want to pick up the controller and
we just want to play an experience rather than survive.
Right.
Yeah. Like for me, I really hate when I get stuck in a game personally.
Yeah. If I get stuck, I'm gonna put it down. I'm probably not gonna pick it up for a couple months.
Right, same. It's like, and I think that difficulty in games is good. Like people who want to grind, like that's fine. That's just not what I want to do. Like if I'm spending my 2 hours on Tuesday after work playing a game, like I want to enjoy my experience instead of being mad and wishing I did something else.
Yeah.
Right now on my backlog list, I'm going through Sekiro right now, and I'm with you where it's just like I'm very much enjoying the game because it is a puzzle game if you like think of it in that way. I guess I can go with any game. Like if you think about it, Life is Strange is a combat game if you really think about it. But there's a lot of puzzles that go into the combat. But like you said, those 2 hours after work, I'm just like, I like what I'm doing here, but I'd rather be playing Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you that like I feel like Life is Strange's audience, aside from the nuzzling dough, once like puzzle, I feel like the demographic who picks up Life is Strange is looking more for a story game than a puzzle game.
Yeah.
I would like puzzles. I'm with you, the Nuzzling Dough, but that's personally me. The Nuzzling Dough, I'm being outnumbered right now, so if you could save me.
Saying her name.
The Nuzzling Dough?
Yeah.
Well, her other one is Marvelous Mongoose. So if you could save me on Twitter at Ace the Grocer.
Oh, jeez.
I totally agree with that. Before we go into like my other notes, what else do you have on your list, Dan?
For
like just anything,
anything. I guess this is probably switching gears to something you would want, but as 2 kind of ways I could see like a power coming about that I think would be interesting is one, if you like survived a disaster, so if like an earthquake hit your town or something like that, like because I was trying to think of something that is traumatic where the powers could be released, but I don't really want to see someone else get shot. Not that they can't do it, but I'm ready for like a different trauma.
We could do without someone getting killed.
Yeah, a different trauma experience. And I guess that like, not that it can't be this way, but it does seem to be the nature of like a sudden trauma. It's not I don't know, traumatic over 10 years or something like that. It's an event. They can cite, I got my powers at this time. So I was thinking surviving in a disaster, earthquake or whatever, like that would be traumatic for sure.
Car accident.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my other thought was maybe if you played as someone who's either like parent or maybe if you were like really close with your grandparent or something like that, and they get like a terminal diagnosis and having to deal with like, oh my gosh, they are in hospice or like 6 months to live kind of thing. Like that would be pretty traumatic as well.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that.
And I guess stretching to social issues, you could talk about healthcare if you do that. So.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that would be good. Like that goes kind of into Nikki's quote about disabilities and healthcare.
Yeah.
Because I feel like each season is kind of like going to a specific social issue, and it takes place in the time where that issue took place.
Yeah.
Like for Life is Strange 2 is about police brutality and the rise of racism, as if like racism, like it hid for a while, like the rise.
Yeah.
It was always there, but I feel like in 2016, it really became prevalent. And that's where it took place in 2016. And that's kind of the thing. Is the social issue could be healthcare, because I think that's a hot button.
Yeah.
Or even socialism versus capitalism. I think politics could play a key role.
Yeah.
Because it has before, you know.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Well, Liz, what other social issues could you think?
I think a lot on anxiety and depression.
Ooh.
Because that's, especially with our generation, it's very much talked about, where in past older generations that was something that was ignored, no one talked about, and we're trying as a generation to like break that and make it more talked about. And that could also link into healthcare, because people don't see that as a health thing. Like the older generations have a hard time, like, why do you talk about your feelings all the time? And things like that. So I think those two could go together, like healthcare and anxiety and depression. But for me, I think that's something that's big going on right now, that we're trying to talk about it and make it not such a taboo topic. You know, so.
Yeah.
I even think the social issue of social media versus, you know, privacy rights could even be a social issue, because like it could take place in the time where I was going to say Mark Wahlberg. Was it Mark Zuckerberg?
We watched a Mark Wahlberg movie last night, so.
Yeah, we watched what was it called?
Spencer Confidential.
Yeah, it was okay.
I like it. It has Eliza Schlesinger.
Yeah, and Mark Wahlberg. But when Mark Zuckerberg was on trial, and it could be about like, you know, taking people's personal privacy and selling it off. Like there's been games that have done that before.
Yeah.
I believe Watch Dogs 2 really like harps on that as well, and social media and all that. But that doesn't mean that Life is Strange 3 can't even do that social issue either.
Yeah.
And I think you're we're all right here. You know, we're all in the correct area right
Good
now.
job.
Thank you.
No, yeah, I think social media or just technology in general could be fine.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know like in TV, like Black Mirror has that kind of covered, but I don't know. You could totally hit up different issues related to technology. What does technology do to people?
Yeah.
Is it changing us? All that stuff. Like that. I don't know. You could really run with that if you wanted. Yeah.
And what was your idea again about social issues? I lost it in my brain area.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
My main one was healthcare.
Yeah.
I think I like that idea much better, because like what you said, like Black Mirror has already covered mine with technology.
Yeah.
I think there's plenty of TV shows and games that cover depression and anxiety. Healthcare isn't really one that's covered.
Yeah.
And I think Don't Nod would be the people to really bring that into light.
Yeah.
And the importance of it.
Well, the problem is it depends on when they started writing the story for season 3. If it's already started, they might have chosen a social issue from months ago.
True.
Or a year ago. You know what I mean?
I think healthcare.
I just thought of another one. Sorry.
What's that?
Like refugees and stuff like that. Because that would fit with, you know, a few months ago that was even more on. But like resettling to a new place, that could be pretty wild.
Because you have to think that season 2 was based in 2016. And we played it in 2018, 2019. So we have to think, what was the social issues in 2018?
I think the refugees were.
Yeah.
I think that was going on in 2018, if I remember correctly.
Probably.
2017, 2018.
It seems like since 2016, it's like ramped up. So that
really
could be
has.
a real option. I guess they could theoretically go further back in time, but I feel like it would be weird to play like a game with someone who got a power before Max. I guess it could happen, like if they're their Samuel L. Jackson or whatever who brings them together.
Well, I know I know Nikki, like Commander Nikki, is in the camp of Rachel Amber having powers before Max. But by the way she like interacts in Before the Storm and how she like affects the air by her shouting.
Yeah.
Commander Nikki is like definitely in the camp of like she had powers, Rachel Amber, and that's why she had the doe ghost.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is a doe a female deer?
Yes. Doe, a deer, a female.
No,
deer.
I was discussing with somebody. They're like, "Is a doe a baby deer?" I'm like, "I think so." And now I say it out loud. It's
literally in a song.
Yeah.
I was
you can learn everything from songs, like your coconut and lime drink.
Yeah. Well, I'm drinking coconut mango right now.
I know, but I'm saying you didn't know that coconut and lime went together. There's a whole song about it. You didn't know doe was a female deer when it's literally in a song.
So wrapping up our conversation, I want to read this last social media answer from Imperfect Cosplay, who has to say, I would say game. I guess he means a game. Oh yeah, it's just blocked by stupid menu button. I would say a game that is on its own again, with new protagonists, not like it's connected, but its own story. However, I would like to see the story slowly interconnect and understand why everyone gets their powers.
Yes.
And I think that's what we were talking about before too.
Yeah, I would like to see by like season 3 or 4 or 5 that we're starting to see how this happened and see them all intertwining. And that's why I think it kind of has to stay in the Pacific Northwest, because that's the only way they're really all going to meet each other.
Yeah.
Like in a storyline type of way, without someone saying, "Hey, come here, you come here." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get you. But Dan, I really like your idea for like an interconnected MCU, and I want to understand. I think we're starting to pick up different reasons why they're getting their powers. It's because of trauma in their lives. But I would love like that official canon lore. Now, I don't know if it was discussed in the comics because, to be honest with you, I dropped out after issue 5. I don't know if you've kept up, Dan.
I stayed till issue 8, and then once they put out the trade paperback for 9 through 12, I'm going to read it, but I didn't read them issue by issue.
Was there any like canon explanation of powers yet, or do you not like?
You meet another guy who has powers who got it in a traumatic event also. He saw his friend get shot in a drug deal.
Oh, snap.
So the comic seems to run with the origin.
But I think the problem is you can't go off the comic because the comic came after the game.
I don't think the comic's
on the
really
game,
canon.
so it's not.
Yeah, but
like
it's in
MCU.
the same universe, though.
Yeah, but it's not like the MCU where the comics came and then they made movies after them. It's based off of the game, so the game is what's canon.
But it's an extended universe, almost like the Star Wars books, which are hot garbage, by the way.
I'm going to ignore the comic books. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, that's why I ignore the Star Wars books because, again, clear my throat here, they're hot garbage.
Jeez.
But not like Darth Bane. If you haven't read Darth Bane yet, the Darth Bane trilogy, Mamma Mia.
Okay.
What a spicy meatball. But yeah, any other thoughts about Life is Strange 3, what we wish from it? I'm just going to read. Oh, wait. Dan, what do you think? Do you have any other thoughts?
I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I kind of think that Life is Strange in itself sort of has 2 universes that exist, because you've got your Deck 9 Before the Storm kind of crew that I would say is sort of different from Life is Strange 1 and 2, kind of deal. So I wouldn't really be surprised if we get like another Deck 9 game that is Life is Strange, but you could also have no powers. It could just be Arcadia Bay stories more so. But then Don't Nod continuing the kind of MCU version. So I kind of think you could end up in a spot where there's almost 2 versions of Life is Strange, where one, it's like the superpower heavy, hopefully comes together. But then the other version where it's kind of the Deck 9, the characters we already know and love and tell more of their stories kind of thing. And I don't know. So I kind of see them as separate entities, and like almost that Life is Strange 1 is like a starting canon place for lots of things, the comics being another offshoot. But like, like Life is Strange 1 in one sense is the only thing that's canon kind of.
Yeah. True. Yeah, so I guess like what we're all picking up here, our ideal Life is Strange 3, I was going to say something else. Our ideal Life is Strange 3, we want control of the powers? We don't want to.
Yeah.
We want control of the powers again. And the power I think we're all agreeing with is either mind reading or even further mind control later on in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a perfect way to bring it all together. It needs to be set in Ireland because no one likes France.
I say neat. I said if it was to be in another country, I would choose Ireland.
Yeah, but we're all thinking that like it should be connected to the Pacific Northwest because that's where the canon is.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to be in like a global setting, kind of like going to Ireland and people still have these powers. It's not just the Pacific Northwest. It's not just in the water of Seattle.
I would wait to do that in like 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
I wouldn't do that in 3.
Sure. I'd love to see the Ireland animations, though. I'm with you, Liz.
Yeah, true. So we would want to, ideally, we would want it still set in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Germany and France. And the social issue, most likely healthcare, because I think that's super original. And we definitely, what else did we decide? Oh, we definitely want the episodes.
Yeah.
Like episodes, like they have to stay into fruition because, especially as us adults with full-time jobs, like, I think that's definitely more fair. And brand new characters, I think we're thinking.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely brand new characters and possibly 2 playable characters for couch co-op. I think that's a good idea. Have you played A Way Out yet, Dan?
I have not. Or I started it, actually. I've played a little bit of it. And I liked what I've played so far.
I like what A Way Out does in the way of like there's two characters and you don't have to, but they can jump in as that second character. Like someone else could jump in as Daniel or someone could jump in as your partner. Or like Gears of War 5, 2 characters, but in the same story. Oh, that would be fantastic.
Oh, no, I'm thinking something else.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. The way Gears of War 5, I'm sorry, Gears 5.
Whatever.
They called it Gears 5 because it was a stupid reason. Like, but do you know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Okay, it's we don't have time to explain this, but Gears 5, if you've played it, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I think this is a good ideal Life is Strange 3. Especially, I like the idea of healthcare being one of the social issues that's picked up because I don't think that's talked about enough. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, this sounds like a good game. I would play it.
Yeah, Square Enix, come on, don't nod.
Like we literally just gave you your whole game.
Yeah.
Story credits.
I mean, I'm sure that Raul Barbe, like he listens to us, like both of our podcasts, are just trying to write down notes, like what should we write about next? I'm pretty sure he does that.
Yeah.
I mean,
if any of these elements are in the next game, I will be like, oh my gosh, she listened to it. I
think we can wrap up our conversation here. This was a good one. Yeah.
Good job, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life is Strange 3, we did it.
Woo! Game designers, here we come. Dan, I want to thank you again for coming on this week's podcast. Where can we find you on social media, by the way? How can we follow you?
Yeah, thanks again for having me on. This is awesome. Really fun to talk Life is Strange 3 with you guys.
For sure.
And yeah, you can find me on Twitter at StoryEverPod. That's where we're most active for sure. And then our website is thegreateststoryeverplayed.com. You can get all our episodes there. And yeah, as we've talked about, we do a lot of story-driven games. So stuff like Life is Strange and lots of other stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Definitely listen to his podcast. If you love just discussing specific video games, that's the podcast to go to. So definitely check that out. But yeah, Dan, again, thank you so much. It's been a blast. Even though you didn't back me up, you more backed up Liz. You know, I still forgive you. But this is a really good episode. So thanks again for listening to this week's episode. You can, again, follow us on Twitter at Gaming Groceries. Follow us on Instagram, Games Groceries, all one word. And we thank you for listening to this week's episode. We hope to catch you next week. Have a great week.
Bye.
See ya.